Chapter 4, Willa and the Whale. Chapter 4, Meg. Willa Twitchell, journal number 4, 1 year ago. Today, while I waited for my mom to get off work, I crouched down in the tide pools outside of the biological station. It was a minus tide, and I could go out further than normal. Inside one of the pockets of rocks, I spied a long, white, fuzzy thing moving slowly along the bottom. It had tiny black dots on its fur and 2 pointed ears like a rabbit, but the whole thing wasn't much bigger than my thumb. I looked it up later, and people called it a sea bunny, even though it's really a slug. The little creature seemed to move with a purpose, though I couldn't guess where it was going, and for a long time I just watched it and wondered what it thought about. I was the only one at that part of the beach, so I talked to it and imagined it would respond to me. Maybe that's a little crazy, but it seemed like at any moment it would just look up at me, though I never did see eyes on it, and explain what was going on in its fuzzy brain. Maybe one day we'll actually know what animals think. Hashtag, I want to talk to animals. Hashtag, you know you want to too. "Hello, little human," the whale said. My mouth dropped open so far my tongue practically fell out of my mouth. The whale just spoke back to me. "Sorry that I didn't respond right away," the whale apologized. "I was kind of, surprised." I thought a whale's voice would be like garbled thunder roaring from under the water, a voice big enough to match its large body. But it wasn't. It was more like an incredible mix of a woman singing with cello playing in the background, like a one-whale opera. "Not bad surprised, like orcas are approaching," she explained, "but good surprised, like discovering a Pacific snake eel or a 100-year-old sea turtle." She rolled a little in the water. "Humans have never spoken to me before." I didn't know if I understood humpback language or if she spoke English, but I knew this was working, and I liked it, loved it. And something about her sing-songy voice was almost as soothing as the ocean. Maybe it filled a little of the ocean-sized emptiness. I couldn't believe this was happening. A whale was talking to me. That wasn't even possible, was it? Oh, I didn't have time to think or analyze or even doubt. I had to answer back, but it was like trying to talk to a famous scientist. I had loved whales ever since I was a toddler, but I couldn't go all fangirl and giddy laugh and tiptoe dance. That just wouldn't do. As far as I knew, this was the very first interspecies conversation between human and whale. I had to make a good impression. I took a deep breath and tried to say something clever. "If it makes you feel any better," I said, "whales haven't ever talked to me either." Okay, not the most insightful thing to say, but hopefully it wasn't embarrassing my species. The whale nodded, her big snout dipping up and down and under the water. Good, okay, that seemed to go over okay. I was actually talking to a whale. Inside I was full on screaming for joy. So awesome. "I didn't know that humans ever wanted to talk to us whales," she said, then started to laugh. It sounded like bubbles and an orchestra together. "Usually I come to splash out and give you people a pleasant surprise, not to have a conversation." "You were absolutely amazing," I said, letting a little of my excitement spill out. "Seriously, the best slaps and backflops I've ever seen. And I've been a whale watching a lot." I suddenly realized I was so excited I was speaking in full voice again. I quickly looked around, hoping that no one else had noticed what was going on. I didn't want the crowd to come over and spoil it. So far, I was safe. I think some pelicans were fishing on the other side of the boat, and everyone was watching them. "Oh, goodness, I'm not the best out here," the whale said. "I have a friend who can jump so high his tail comes out of the water. His whole family is known for doing leaps together. It's really incredible," she said. "I just want to give you blubberless rectangle watchers something fun, even if I know I'm only okay at it." What had she just said? "Blubberless rectangle watchers?" I asked. "Yes," she said. "You're blubberless. You don't have all the attractive fat on you that I have on me. But don't worry, you're still a very cute species." "Thanks," I said. It wasn't every day a whale called me cute. She had a thick layer of fat all around her to keep her warm in even Arctic temperatures. and she was a water-rising, back-flopping acrobat. What did you mean by rectangle watchers? I asked. Oh, the whale said, those tiny little rectangles that most humans look at all the time. She blew a little air out of her blowhole, but did it quietly. I think she didn't want the crowds to come over either. All the time, she repeated. You look at them instead of at each other or at the ocean. Rectangles, I thought hard. Oh, phones, I said, realizing what she was talking about. Is that what they're called? The whale asked. They must be hypnotizing, like the bioluminescence of an anglerfish. I immediately pictured the dot that glows in front of an anglerfish. It's designed to be fascinating, but there are sharp teeth right behind it. It was strange to think that a whale ever even thought about our phones. I guess they are kind of hypnotizing, I said, but not like an anglerfish, not in a dangerous way. I mean, they can also be good. I used one to film you, so I can watch your fantastic jump over and over again. You can watch it again, the whale asked. She bobbed up and down a little in the water. Yeah, I said. Want to see? She gave a huge whale nod, then swam in closer to the boat. I leaned my phone over the edge, playing back to her the latest rise and turn out of the ocean. When I woke up this morning, I had no idea that I'd be talking to a humpback whale and showing her a video of herself crashing into the ocean. I just thought it was going to be another day of trying not to cry. This was getting better and better. Oh, these rectangles are amazing, she said, watching the screen for the first time. And I didn't do that badly at all. Not at all, I said. Thank you, little human, she said. And I really think she meant it. Again, I wasn't an expert on whale manners, but now that I got to talk to her, she was actually really polite. My mom would have loved this. Absolutely nothing held back. Loved this. She would have definitely fangirled, even if it was just on the inside. A sting of sadness shot through me. I missed her. But I hated those stings. They were so much worse than stings from a jellyfish. Worse than a stingray jab. I shook my head. Whale watches were no place for sadness, and whale talks even less. My name is Willa, I said, trying to be polite and keep the stings away. I mean, I guess you could call me little human if you want, but that would mean I would call you large whale. The humpback laughed again like an orchestrated song. Willa seems like a fine name, she said, at least as far as humans go. And my name is Megaptera Noviangelili. No, something like that. You guys, it's all in Latin. It's the Latin. It's hard. My name is Megaptera Noviangelili. I think that was right, actually. As strange as it sounds, I had heard that name somewhere before. I mean, it's not the name of someone else in my own class, because that would be pretty crazy for parents to name their kids Megaptera Noviangelili. But it was fine for a whale, so where had I heard it? I searched my brain files. That's the scientific name for humpback whales. I felt embarrassed it had taken me so long to realize it. You're really bright, the whale said. I may have blushed a little. I tried hard to know about marine life, but most people didn't even notice or care. But that can't be your name, I said, thinking this through a little more. Then every humpback would have the exact same name. The whale took a moment. We all share that name. That seemed strange. Are you telling me that if you wanted to shout out to a humpback that's far away, you would just yell at them, Hey, Megaptera Noviangelili? Wouldn't they all respond at the same time? What? No, she laughed, more musical bubble sounds. That's just our name. If I wanted to speak to one humpback friend, I would use their call. Oh, so each whale had a specific call. That was pretty much the same as a name. I guess we just didn't understand each other at first. I bet that happened a lot in interspecies friendships. So, when we say name, you say call. Let me ask my question differently then. What is your call? My call is, she sang a whale song. I tried my best to pay attention to the order of it all. 3 sounds like a squeaky balloon, something that sounded a bit like a Wookiee, a door that needs to be greased, and back to squeaky balloon. Then she stopped. It got quiet. I tried my best to say it back, but how was I going to do that? I couldn't make all those sounds, could I? I looked around to make sure that nobody was watching from the boat, and then I tried. 3 squeaks, a Wookiee creaking door, then another squeak. But they didn't come out right. It sounded more like 3 pig squeals, a sick tiger, an angry chihuahua, then another pig squeal. Nothing like the cool sound that came out of the whale. I just hoped I didn't offend her. But she didn't get upset. She didn't laugh, at least not aloud. She rolled in the water, and I saw her smile. Then again, her mouth always looked like a smile. "That was pretty good," she said. I hoped she wasn't lying. "But you mistakenly called a humpback bull a decent swim away from here. We humpbacks can hear for long distances." She turned and called out into the ocean, listened, then called again. "He thought you wanted to go get some krill with him. I told him you were a human and probably not looking for a dinner date. That set things straight." She swam a little closer to me. "Unless you want to eat krill with him, do you want me to call him back?" I shook my head furiously, my cheeks blushing like the scales on a red snapper. I didn't need a whale boyfriend. "I am sorry, I am no good at your call," I said. I thought that with some practice I could get it right, but I hadn't really had time to practice. Maybe I could call you something else until I figure it out. Maybe," I thought for a moment. "Can I just call you Meg?" "Meg?" she said. "Yeah, short for Megaptera noviangeli. Sometimes humans shorten names for their friends." "Oh, I see." I watched her dive down a little, then resurface. "Sure," she said. "I like the idea of having a human name and a human friend. It's a pleasant surprise." And she sang it just to prove it. And I do love pleasant surprises. I think I'd probably sing more if my songs could travel thousands of miles through the ocean like hers. "When you first spoke to me," Meg said, "you said today was special, that you needed me to appear today, that you needed to remember something. What were you talking about?" "More stings. Lots more." "Willa!" I heard my dad calling, searching for me. That was the last thing I wanted right now. It definitely wasn't every day I got to talk to a live humpback. But he was my dad. He brought me out here to try to cheer me up. He was trying. "My dad's calling me," I told Meg, "so I've got to go. I really don't want to, but I have to. Can we talk about this later?" Right after I asked, I realized I didn't know if there would be a later. "I mean, is there any way I could talk to you again?" I asked. I would really love to, and I totally meant it. "I'll be around for a while," Meg said, rolling onto her back. "And again, I can hear you from long distances away. Now that I know your voice, if you just get close to the water and call out, I'll be listening." That could work. I mean, I knew humpbacks could talk to each other when they were hundreds, even thousands of miles apart, but I had no idea one could be listening for me. I got chills just thinking about how amazing that was. I lived a quick bike ride away from the ocean. Well, lots of people do when you live on an island. "You're the best humpback whale ever," I said. She laughed a song. "That would be a most pleasant surprise," she said. "Who are you talking to?" my dad asked. I totally jumped. I mean, I knew he was coming, but it still surprised me. I turned back to the ocean, but Meg had swum away. I scanned the rolling water, but couldn't find a trace of her. She must have dived deep and fast. "I was just talking to myself," I said. He wouldn't have believed me anyway.